Hey, good morning. Ben here with Studio on the Lake. This is the long-promised production video, how I go about filming, editing, and putting a video together. So, initially, just to give you an idea of how I film, you saw that portion right there where it was pretty wide angle. That's how I shoot 75% of the time. And then I'll take and through DaVinci Resolve, which is my editing software we'll talk about later, I come and close in. So that's what I film, and I end up with maybe 15 or 20 different clips over a 4-hour period. I reach up when I take a break and shut the camera off. It's over my left shoulder there. Some special effects in there. I'll tell you how I pull that off. But basically, it's pure magic is all there is to it. So everything starts with an idea. Stephen King talked about writing a book, and he said, where do I get my ideas? Well, a lot of times I do have a plan, other times I don't. So here's where one idea came from, was just watching Jordy Johnson.
The winner of the poll is going to be able to tell the other carver what they have to carve, something within reason. So mine will be, like, if I win the poll, most people like my monster better than Rob's. I think mine will be, let's see here. Also, too, guys, go over and subscribe to his channel. He does lots of cool carvings. But my monster will be, I think it will be something like a fish with a wood spirit head. Something like that. I don't know. I'll figure out a fish with a wood spirit head.
So if you've been following the channel, you know that Jordy and I mess around, and Rob gets involved in there, and I built a fish based on that last little clip that you saw. I steal those clips with a 4K downloader. It allows me to go in and grab them. But I film with a 70D Canon. It has a power supply in there. I use a Tamron lens 90% of the time. There's a standard lens. There's a wide angle focus, and it's all on a card. I then go through and edit it with my Dell laptop and run a DaVinci Resolve, and then I'll do a voiceover, and I'll tell you why. So I post to YouTube after that. There you go. You got everything. That's a short video, huh? That takes care of it. So that's how it's done, if you're curious. No, really. I'll go ahead and break that down for you a little bit. I do use a Canon 70D, and the reason I do that is it's a 12 megapixel. The lenses on it allow me to shoot sitting over my shoulder about 3 or 4 feet away. And one of the things I like about this camera is it'll set you back $500 used, $1,500 new. That little piece on the right there, that's a flip out screen, and I don't have to run a monitor up in the background. So I flip that around so I can see what I've got going and what's focusing on that. And it's pretty simple. I just reach up with my left hand, and I can pause or continue the filming. So I'm really big on this camera. One of the things that makes it work well, and there you see, that's me reaching up, playing with the focus, farting around with the piece in the middle. And I think I left a sound on in the background, and that I'll explain to you a little bit later why I do that. So here's the same clip after I've zoomed in with the editing software, and by and large it stays in focus because it's autofocus, but sometimes I have to go around. That's my favorite lens. That's a Tamron 1750 telephoto lens on the camera there. It's a fairly pricey lens, but you can get them used and abused for $300. This is the standard 28 to 135 zoom lens that Canon sells with a lot of the cameras. And then here's a little pancake lens that's a wide angle, it's 24 millimeter. I'll use that when I'm shooting something a little bit bigger, or if I'm shooting a scene outside. Here's the important part. I don't run a battery in it unless I'm moving the camera around. I use this thing which plugs in to the battery pack, and I don't have to worry about power. My camera never dies on the power. I record on cards like this, which I can pull right out of the camera when I'm done with a session, and I pop them right into my Dell laptop. So I use a Dell Inspiron laptop It's about $2,500. It's a gaming version and also the film editing version. So I wanted lots of power. It's got 32 gig and all that. I'll put this stuff down in the description for those of you that are into that sort of thing. But I really like the computer. It crunches the videos fairly fast, and that's DaVinci Resolve, my editing software. It's free. It's got a little bit of a learning curve, but it's along the line. It's production. They've done full movies on this thing. This is DaVinci 15. 16 has a few more options that I would never use. And now they just came out with DaVinci 17. But you could go to college for 2 years to figure out how to run this damn thing and not figure it out. I'm not that smart, but I'll go and if I want to do a special effect, it does all kinds of magic stuff to include special effects. And then it has a really strong editing or voiceover or audio editing. It does all kinds of great things that I'm not capable of doing. But if I want a special effect, I'll go in and search it and then take 5-10 minutes and figure out how to do that. So here you see me setting it up. I film those clips and bring them in, and a 4-hour session will give me about what you see there in that. And of course I'm pulling clips in from various different places. I leave them in a folder, and now it's all set up. If you look across the bottom there, well, I just screwed it up. So after I get done putting all these in there, you see all that gee whiz magic stuff on the bottom. I go ahead and mute everything and do a voiceover. This is a fine USB microphone. It's supposed to be one of the best. I did use a Snowball for a while, and the Snowball had a hum in the background. I run that on Mixpad Master software. I did go ahead and pay for the license on that to give me a couple of deal, and I think that was around $50. There's DaVinci Resolve. Of course, I don't think anybody orders software in the box. And why do I do a voiceover? Well, here's why.
Don't you want to die when someone loves you? You don't love me. You kind of grow.
That's unedited, real time. That's about the wide angle I shoot. I don't put my mug in there. Doug Linker made a comment that he doesn't like people who just show hands, but you know what? I'm not a big fan of this facial selfie crap where they're zooming in on their face and all that good sort of stuff. And I don't think you want to look at my mug. I think you want to look at the product that I'm building. But this is the wide angle before editing, and it's almost always the shot that I use. Here's the downside to having a cold studio and why I run those two different lenses. They're very similar, but the Tamron is my favorite. This is a cold morning. I'm carving along. Things are looking good. Every 5 minutes or so, I peek up at the camera if it's a long session and see if that thing is doing what I want it to do. And this is where the camera lens fogs over in the middle, because a lot of cases I'm too lazy to bring that lens in from the outside, and as it warms up from the cold studio, it does crazy things. So here's after. I'll just swap those lenses out for one that's not cold. But there you see my wide angle shooting. It's something I've kind of developed, and it allows me for an hour or two just to do what I do, not move around too much. And there's the zoomed in of the same wide angle. The camera has enough megapixels, and the lenses are good enough that typically I'm in focus. Sometimes I'm not. So you've seen some crazy things in some of the videos, stuff like this. It's cartoony, popping in. Jordy should tell us how he does those. I do it on a 12-inch iPad Pro, running a drawing artist program called Procreate, which my daughter helped me. And this is Procreate right here. I use this for the kid videos that are on the other channel, the Tumbleweed channel. They're not anything for adults. They're just for a 2-year-old, a 4-year-old, and I mess around with them. It keeps me busy. But iPad Pro with the pencil And here's the Yeti teaching the kid, my grandson, shapes. He likes the shapes and that sort of thing. And this is an animation mode that I've got it set on now. But I'm able to, if I want to draw something crazy or do one of those weird intros, I'll put this in there. And this just goes frame by frame. You can go up to 300 or 400 frames for each one. And then I go ahead and export it out. And I don't have to pull a chip out of this because I just put it into the Google Drive, go to my Dell laptop and open up the Google Drive, and poof, it's there. I download it, throw it in a folder for whatever folder I want to edit, or whichever filming I'm working on at that time, and then I forget. So it's really easy to transfer between the different platforms. And there's a little bit more to it when you're editing in the background, but here it is running through. So that's how I get my special effects. iPad Pro, 12-inch monster screen for old people. And here's how you'd go about developing a brand new intro. And I just did a quick one for this video here just to give you an idea. And then I didn't do that great an editing job, but I threw it over. That's what you see going over the intro in there. It's really a neat program if you got any artistic talent, or none whatsoever in my case. It allows you to do some pretty interesting stuff. And you just set it up one frame at a time. But you can also use this, and then I tend to leave a background in this of a solid color. It's like green screen, where you see the TV weatherman, if he were to wear a green jacket and green pants, God forbid, he'd disappear and become a headless entity. Well, the editing software, DaVinci, on the special effects module that's in there, allows me to do what they call green screen. There's another name for it too in the filming world, but I can't remember what it is. So if you leave the background color, it allows you to select that color, and I'll show you that real briefly at some point. So I leave the background in there, and then what happens is you put this above another film strip in the editing software, select the background out of this, and whatever is below it plays in the background, and this plays over the top of it. Once again, there are folks that go to film editing school and production school. My younger son has done a lot of that in college, and it's designed for TV production work or movie production work. It's primarily the news folks. Yeah, but you can go to school to learn how to do this stuff, or you can do it the hard way like I did and pick up parts and pieces here. This is the tricky part about, it's a whole package when you're trying to put together a video. So you watch some folks, and they can put up to, infinite number of hours to a week in the production portion of this. And I try to get to a point where it's presentable. I'm not working for perfection, and I'm not looking to earn any awards for my fantastic production work. I think the star of the show is the wood carving, and hopefully some of my videos that comes across. So these are, you can't see it, but these are just different pages, and I'm adding stuff in there. So in animation, you got 12, 15, 20 frames a second, which is ridiculous if you're trying to draw it. So just imagine the old Disney studios where they had 1 million frames in a 5-minute movie or whatever. I'm making those numbers up. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, basically. But imagine if somebody had to draw each and every one of these, and that's a screw up there. I didn't want that whole thing to be red. That's got a little open circle in there. So each of these production processes has a learning curve. I know how to carve. I didn't necessarily know how to film and get what I wanted, and then how to figure out how to keep your damn hands out of the way or get that angle. I will shoot sometimes with my phone, and then it's a matter of plugging the phone into the computer and pulling the files off of that. It seems to get pretty good resolution. I know Jordy and a lot of folks film completely with their phone. It renders a weird format, but fortunately DaVinci Resolve, the editing software, allows me to go in and resize those and make the magic happen. So I didn't realize I spent so damn much time on the special effects part of this, because this is the silly part, rather than making silly voices and that kind of crap. Sometimes I'll let a little short like this just make the point. Fortunately, I think I finally got smart and sped this part up. This was actually filmed on my phone. I'm still down here in Iowa for a couple more days. The company went ahead and bought a studio apartment that looks over a lake, so that's a nice deal. Home away from home, if you were. And this is the last part of that smiley face coming in there, and I'm drawing it in sections so that it renders out. Can't believe I wasted all that time on this particular portion of it. I'm too lazy to go back and edit it in, so you guys have to watch through this to get the rest of it. But primarily, you've got the whole deal. Now, where do I get my ideas from? I'll kind of revisit that while this crap is going on. I usually have 3 or 4 projects planned ahead. Some of them are filmable. I try to keep them in so that you can film it. Like, I've been wanting for a long time to do a full-size bald eagle. I have the wood for it. I have the design, because I did a 1/3 size eagle. True to form life with the feathers burned in, the whole nine. It's quite interesting. I'll show you that one of these days. All right, so hopefully the voice quality doesn't change on that. Right in the middle of this studio that the company has for me flying down here in Iowa is great, with one exception. It has a furnace that kicks on high gear and just raises all kinds of hell and makes noise, and you can't talk while that damn thing's going. I think if I were those of you that know something about HVACs, I'd go and change those. It's cool to have 2 and 3 speeds where it cranks up on high, goes to 2, and then goes to low, but this damn thing's too loud. And the furnace is right in the middle of this really nice condo. I think I'd go in there if it were mine and I had something to do with it other than just spending a week down here and then going away for a week and coming back. I'd turn that damn thing down to low. The main criteria being I'm not paying for it, so it can run without blast and everything. So here's I pull clips down from the web. I do stuff, and here is that whole thing you saw me do painfully there, and I apologize for how long that was. That's the clip after it's been imported into my Dell laptop and into DaVinci edited. Well, it's not in DaVinci yet, but it will be shortly. So you see me steal parts of different people's videos. They put them out there. I use a program called 4K Downloader. It allows me to pull your whole YouTube video, and I think it's an MP4 format, which works with DaVinci. And I'm able to treat this just like a clip that I had filmed and pull sections out of that. That's oversimplifying it, but there it is, finally at the bottom of that long line of crap, and there's a beautiful lamp showing as a shadow in the background. I looked at that and figured it didn't hurt anything. The goal here is not to show you how to use DaVinci Resolve, because I'm not the expert, but I pull this clip in right at the beginning, and this was a pain in the butt to film because I'm filming on an angle with the cell phone on a small tripod, and I'm trying to keep my fat fingers out of it. Well, where normally, just like carving, I would have this stuff sitting right in front of me, and I'm not trying to work off on the side. So if you're just starting this, you know the challenges and trying to keep your head, your hands, your body out of the filming process, and then to show people what's going on. And you don't get to carve necessarily. You spend a little bit of time trying to figure out how to make this stuff so that people can actually see what you're doing. There's nothing worse than trying to watch a video and every once in a while you get a glimpse behind someone's back as they move out of the way to see what they're doing. So this stuff it takes a little bit of a commitment, as you can figure out. If you're watching this, you're trying to figure out how to either make your stuff better, or you're watching this trying to figure out how to produce a video. And the production stuff doesn't take quite as long as the carving, but I probably have 2 or 3 hours in each video trying to produce them. And you can tell when I short stroke that and try to slam something out, because I can put something together in about 15 minutes, but things get compromised. I either don't review it enough to fix the sound that's gone awry, and I wanted a section for the beginning, and this is the part where I'm going to show you. I put the one over top of the other, so I grabbed a video that I'd already put up that had my intro in there, and imported that into the file selection in DaVinci, and then I'll cut and edit and use a section of that as the background. And I just kind of wanted to show you this part because this is how some of those special effects get in there, and this is where the green screen comes into play. So that was a whole, it gives me an editing and a view window on the right side. I'll pull this whole, select a portion of this and pull the whole thing in underneath that opening video, and then I'll green screen the white out so that it shows in the background. You'll get an idea of what I'm talking about here in just a second. So here I realize that I got these things ass backwards, and I want the one video on top of the other because that's the way that it reads once I select out the background. So I switch them around. This DaVinci will let you run 10, 20 clips stacked on top of each other, and it can get quite nightmare. So here's one of the things, and this thing has 5 different programs all put together, and this one is a Fusion Magic or something, or Fusion I think is the name of it, which was a standalone program, and it allows you to put special effects in and green screen and that sort of stuff. And that's what I did here. So I took the background out of the one that's saying studio there and put it over top the other one. So the original is playing in the background while the foreground has that little thing right there that I just did. And there's what it looks like on a black background. So ladies and gentlemen, that's how the special effects are done in my videos anyway. This is skipping quite a bit ahead. You can see that I've got different scrolling lines in there. That's something that you do right on DaVinci, and then the clips, and then you see a couple of audios down below, and I'm able to take and it has an audio section which is filled with all kinds of neat tools, and lets me go in and do these voiceovers. And one of the reasons I do the voiceover is I have a TV on in the background in the studio. I'm not a big fan of the power carving tools and that sort of thing, making a racket in the background. On occasion, I'll throw those in because they have an effect. I've quit showing the portion where I run the bandsaw because that's pretty self-explanatory. And there's my MixPad Pro. That's what I'm recording the voiceover on with. And you can see it's going in the background while I'm yakking away. And then I'll export that as an MP3 and edit it and put some filters on it to get rid of the hum and the various different things in the background. There's such a thing called auto docking on this, so if you have music playing, which people have commented they like the music in the background, but it's hard to talk over music, so there's a process in a video called auto docking. I start talking, the program senses that and says, I'm going to mute the music down and make life more bearable for everyone. And you have to go in and adjust those. That's the last process after I do the voiceover, is adjusting the audio levels. And sometimes I'm tired of messing around with it and I don't get that quite right. And once again, that is DaVinci Resolve. The easy part, it has the audio and the video in there, and you see that little screen I'm playing with on the right. This is the they call it inspector screen, and it's showing me basically what's going on in the real world. So I decided I needed another section in there. I go to the file folder. That's actually the voiceover, and I drag it into there, and poof! Now you got a second or third audio line. And I since I didn't do that in real time. You can record directly to DaVinci Resolve in real time. I've just found the audio quality not to be that great, so I'll do a separate audio clip of a voiceover, and then I'll move it around. If I'm lazy and I get my timing off, then sometimes it doesn't make sense, and I'll say something that's not representative on the video screen, and vice versa. It also allows me to cut out people and background noises. So if I'm ramming along and someone comes in and goes, "Oh my God, I didn't realize that you were recording. Sorry about that." That's not something you want to hear in there unless it makes sense. And I can go ahead and cut that out. And since I do the recording in the house, sitting in my chair, it's not right for the rest of the group, whoever's around, the wife or so, to have to be quiet. I do mention, hey, I'm recording, and people go about their business, and they do, as a courtesy, try to be quiet. But of course, that's when you're going to knock the vase over. The dog's going to start barking, or the cat decides that that would be a really nice time to be right in the damn middle of everything on your computer. So this is the easiest part, is that part right there where I'm sitting there carving. I don't have a care in the world. I've got the camera running in the background. So now this is another of those modules that's in, and this is the auto docking version that I was telling you about. And once again, you just about have to have a degree to run this, because I'm running right there 3 audio tracks to this, and this actually will be the 4th audio track. You don't get to see this. This is the one going over top of everything else. And I can adjust the volumes, do the auto docking. It takes a hum out of that. It takes and gets rid of some of the echo, if I have some echo in there. It does all kinds of magical stuff. And there is in the video here, I said I don't like my mug in there, but there might be all you see is that portion right there. I don't ever intend to do a straight me talking head into the camera, doing cutesy shit, which seems to be all the rage nowadays. Hey, there's a kid out there, and I'm going to do a Jordy kind of has been talking about him, Calvin Hobbie, kind of like Calvin and Hobbes. If you're trying to search it and you won't find it, Calvin Hobbie. I'll put his website in there. He's got 70 subscribers. He's 12 years old. He's been doing some carving with a Dremel, and his video production is awesome. It's kind of like if you try to play a video game and the 6-year-old grandson or someone is showing you, hey, that's not how you do it. Let me show you this. So the kid's great. He grew up with technology. He's got a lot of sense going on. And I think I'm going to do a video showcasing him. Like I said, he's got 70 subscribers. Jordy's been trying to pimp his channel and get him up over the top. He's doing some awesome stuff. From the carving all the way down to the presentation. The kid has presence and that sort of thing. So shout out to Calvin Hobbie, and I am going to do a video giving him some advice, and it'll drive you. I suggest you go over there and see how fast we can get him over 1,000 subscribers in the watch hours, because he certainly deserves it, and he's a young carver. Beginning carver, and he's kind of the future of this wood carving stuff on YouTube. So you've got a group of people. I got a lot of those down in the description down there that show you the folks that I follow and whatnot. There's no rhyme or reason why one person gets 44,000 views in 8 hours. Some of it has to do with the amount of time you've been on YouTube. Some of it has to do with the formulas that YouTube uses in there. I don't detract anybody that's putting stuff up there. Like anything else, if you don't like it, don't watch it. Don't subscribe to it. One thing I will say, I haven't had a problem with the trolls. I've only had a few negative comments, and they're generally in the constructive realm of, hey, you didn't show me what I wasted 20 minutes and you never really got to the point of what you're trying to show me. Probably kind of like this video right here. But you've got my equipment there. This stuff is not cheap. It takes a time to do it, and that's how I go about doing it. So like, comment, subscribe, and by all means check everybody else out there. And if you got a lot of money and a lot of time on your hands, you can do this. Thanks a lot. This has been Ben with Studio on the Lake.